So, welcome to a very unorthodox episode of ADV China. We will explain to you all in a short while, but basically we are CIA agents.
We are. Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming.
Had to study at Quantico.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy because you're not even an American citizen.
I know, it's amazing, right?
It's pretty cool stuff. We're going to talk about that and many more things that are going on right now.
Absolutely.
In China. As you can see, behind us there's a bustling street scene.
Yes.
It's sweltering. I can't believe I wore this.
It's really hot. It's amazing that we're sitting there, which is not actually true. But anyway.
You know how you can tell?
How?
Look at my hair. See the artifacts around my hair?
Yeah, exactly.
Winston actually made me wear a hat.
Yeah, it looks too unprofessional. We're just trying out a new green screen thing, seeing if it works. Anyway, guys, the topic of today, and the reason why we're not riding the bikes is because we really thought we would bring up this thing which has been going on around the whole thing surrounding us and just foreigners in general. And it's kind of important. So stay tuned. Next week, we're going to continue with our usual on the bikes adventures. Sure. So next week will be on the bikes and then off the bikes, etc., etc. That's how ADV China works. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So why is it that I called us CIA?
CIA, well, we've been labeled CIA so many times. It's actually so frequent that nowadays that we go on our spam filter. We're not deleting these comments. No. And like the predominant thing is people saying these are CIA agents paid to disrupt China. Yeah. Which is funny in itself, but at the same time is like, a lot of them are Wu Maos from China. Of course. Right. But if their definition of, the credentials needed to be a CIA agent, if they actually think that a YouTuber can do that.
That's what I was going to say. Would you, as the CIA, hire a South African YouTuber?
I probably wouldn't.
Yeah, especially who's got over 500,000 subscribers. It's a bit out there in the open, right?
I'd probably hire a Chinese-looking person who speaks fluent Chinese and English to kind of hide within the populace.
Who's very under the radar.
Yeah. Don't think we're a good pick.
No, not at all.
Sorry, guys.
Yes.
Sorry to disappoint you.
Fantastic. Okay, so now we're going to get around to the whole point here, but it's actually very insulting to Chinese people what's going around at the moment. Yeah. The way that agency is taken away from your average Chinese person, whenever there's something going on that Chinese people do, like what's going on in Hong Kong at the moment, right. If it's something that the government doesn't agree with, immediately it's labeled as foreign meddling. It's foreigners are doing this. Foreigners are causing this problem. And that immediately takes away the agency of the people that are actually going out and doing something.
Yeah, I mean, like if you look at the Hong Kong protests as a positive thing, like a lot of people do, then you're actually just giving credit to the West for doing this, not the courage of the Hong Kong people standing up to a massive dictatorship across the border.
So, I mean, let's just go straight into the picture so we can start talking about it, all right? So, this massive thing that's happened in Hong Kong, 2 million protesters on Sunday hit the streets. And this is against, that extradition bill that was being forced through was suspended by Carrie Lam, who's basically like the big head honcho there of the government in Hong Kong. But it wasn't enough for the protesters. They were like, okay, you suspended it, but you haven't gotten rid of it. We want you to step down, or we need something to happen here.
This is how I kind of see. Obviously we're CIA agents, so we actually know what went on behind the scenes.
Yeah, our handlers told us.
Our handlers told us. But actually, this is what I probably think happened. Beijing did not foresee this kind of massive uprising in Hong Kong, right? Yeah. So they downplayed it. They said the numbers were lower, a couple 100,000, but actually there was more people that were protesting against those people. Tried to kind of whitewash this whole thing, right? What I saw though is over 1 million people taking to the streets protesting against this extradition bill, and I think that when she made her public statement saying that this is going to be indefinitely suspended, she was like, "Whew," and Beijing's like, "Whew." Yeah, we don't have to deal with this now.
Yeah, right? This will just go away now.
No, let's double down. 2 million people take to the streets now because that was not enough. That could be brought back at any time, right? That bill.
Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. Nobody can take credit for these marches and these protests other than the Hong Kong people themselves.
Of course.
They're the ones who mobilized. They're the people that actually went out and risked their safety and, felt strongly enough to go out there and protest. It's them. Right. It's not some foreign meddling, as you'll see. If you look at these different screenshots we've got here. I mentioned my friend Dave.
This is good.
He's a photojournalist, part-time photojournalist, a professional photographer. Yeah. And he's always been heavily involved in the protests from the point of view of covering them.
Right.
So whenever there's a protest, he'll go there and he'll join the protest to take photos and to film it, because he cares deeply about Hong Kong. He's married to a local and he actually has his residency there. Yeah. He actually met him in China. When I first got to China, he came to China just slightly after me.
Right.
I've known him for a very long time, and he's been living in Hong Kong for like 8 or 9 years now.
Right.
And so he covers these things, right? Anyway, in one of the sort of circulating posts on Chinese media, they were labeling him as a CIA operative. As you can see him there in this picture. I know, Dave, first of all, he's British.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And I don't think the British get hired by the CIA.
Right.
I mean, if they do, they're not going to hire him.
Yeah.
You can see him actually there underneath that blue flag in the picture on the side there.
So that's a CIA operative we're looking at.
Yeah. My friend Dave, who's a photographer, is a CIA operative. It just shows you. It seems to boggle the mind of the powers that be that people could actually not be happy with their message all the time.
Right.
So they have to have an excuse, and their excuse is that it's foreign people meddling. Now, I mean, you could just see there are articles and articles and articles. Maybe you can explain this next screenshot.
Yeah, well, actually, I was going to give a different perspective as well.
Okay, yeah, please do.
Yeah, I do think that a lot of it's like they think that they can't handle the opposing message, right?
Yeah.
But it's also because I feel like a bit of soft power is involved.
Sure.
So that in these English-speaking articles on Western things like we're looking at right now, they want the West to think that it was external forces.
Yeah.
That their people would never pull off something like that, right?
Yeah.
So you can see this is the China Daily. This is a CCP mouthpiece. This is the main newspaper out of China. It says, parents in the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region took to the streets on Sunday to urge U.S. politicians to not interfere with the SAR extradition amendments and its internal affairs, #Hong Kong. So as if U.S. politicians are getting involved right now, number one. Number two, you can see clearly right through this, right? So this is targeted at English-speaking people abroad. Yeah. And China wants them to think that, okay, this is definitely your guys' fault. Hong Kong people were put up to this, right? Yeah. And actually the comments we've been getting, to make it a little more personal, on your video and my video that covered this Hong Kong situation, a huge spam comment that keeps going around is saying that anyone involved was paid by the CIA or the U.S. government to go out into the streets. I mean, they would have to have a pretty big budget to pull that off.
Well, I mean, if you paid $1 per everyone who went out there, that's $2 million already.
Well, they're claiming that it was more like $100 per person. Wow. So, so that's a lot of money. Right.
What we do know from screenshots that we saw is that there were people being paid to go over the border to counter-protest.
Right. This happens often, actually. In
absolutely. Yeah. Anyway, the thing is, it just goes on and on and on. The Chinese media is blaming Western collusion and Western meddling, and saying that's why the Hong Kong people are protesting the anti-extradition bill. Right. Which is a bunch of nonsense. People also keep bringing up this case of a guy who murdered his girlfriend in Taiwan and fled to Hong Kong, and using that as the rationale as to why this bill has to be pushed through.
Right. Why don't you explain that a little bit?
Well, I mean, it's very straightforward. It is true there's this disgusting guy who murdered his girlfriend in Hong Kong, chopped her up, put her in a suitcase or whatever, and then he fled to Hong Kong. And because of the non-extradition thing, he can't be extradited to Taiwan.
To be tried.
Yes. But the thing is, Taiwan is not mainland China. No. And so they're trying to push this bill through so that people can be extradited to mainland China.
Sure.
And that's the worry. It's not about being extradited to Taiwan, because if that was the case, I'm pretty sure everybody in Hong Kong would agree that it's totally fine.
And there's a fair judicial system.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a democracy there and stuff. The problem is with mainland China is that the law system there is completely, at the whim of the government.
Sure. I've actually seen some even Western YouTubers and Chinese YouTubers and Chinese social media people that keep bringing up this straw man argument that this case, the fact that this Hong Kong guy wasn't allowed to be sent back to Taiwan to be tried is the reason that we need this safety net, this whole kind of blanket to make sure that there aren't criminals and fugitives walking around the streets of Hong Kong. But my response to that is, then why don't you just make the extradition treaty with Taiwan?
Yeah,
which
with
has
that one guy,
Right.
So he killed someone in Taiwan. Let's send it back to Taiwan. Let's not make an extradition treaty with mainland China.
Why does that have to be part of the law?
Other people keep pointing out things like, if you look at the law, only certain kinds of criminals will be,
No.
It doesn't work like that, because, if you get basically labeled as someone who is a threat to social harmony or, to the state in China. It's an incredibly serious charge, which carries big sentences and, can lead all the way up to death sentence if it's necessary. So, it's very easy for them to just on a whim say, oh, you're bad for our government or you're bad for our social harmony, so you're a major criminal now.
To shed some light on this, the actual bill says that if you are charged with a crime that has over 7 years of prison sentence, then you can be extradited back into mainland China.
Yeah.
The problem is that with that is exactly what you just said. If you made a tweet, saying the CCP is corrupt and Winnie the Pooh is a horrible dictator, that crime is not a light crime in China.
No, it's massive.
So that crime could carry much higher. You could actually be tried for being like trying to subvert power or overthrow the government. So you will be extradited. Yeah, that's the worry.
So, this is layman's terms once again. Of course, if you go in depth and in detail, there's a lot more to it. But there's a reason why 2 million people took to the streets.
Right.
And that is not because of foreign meddling. And that's why we've titled this The Blame Game. Because every time something goes wrong in China, immediately there's a blame.
Right.
This is the problem that I have. And when I talk about China, we're talking about the Chinese government, but that filters but it filters down to the people because they tell the people what to believe.
Right. But that's not their fault.
It's not their absolutely not their fault. But it for me it seems incredibly insulting towards normal Chinese people. Because what happens is when the stock market crashed, I said this a million times, but the first thing that my father-in-law did when he phoned my wife was to say the stock market crashed because of foreign meddling. Okay? And then that was not his fault because it was in the newspaper, in the government newspaper.
It was only one opinion.
Yeah, it was on the government TV, and so that's what he believed. And it was a bunch of nonsense because foreigners can't meddle in the Chinese stock market because only 1% of the entire Chinese stock market was foreigners. And you need to have all sorts of special privileges in order to even be a part of the Chinese stock market as a foreigner. You can't just do it, right?
Right.
So the thing is, it's a blame game. So, unrest in Hong Kong. Well, it can't be that Hong Kong people are actually not satisfied. It must be foreign meddling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And thus the CIA label. By the way, just so we don't set off any warning flags, and I don't think we need to say this.
Yeah.
We are not in the CIA.
No.
We have never been approached by anyone, even in law enforcement, at the lowest level. So you guys got the wrong guys. You're going to have to keep looking. I would probably look for someone that's a little bit more hidden.
I promise you right now that if I was a CIA operative or FBI or MI6 or whatever, well, first of all, you wouldn't know about it at all. But if I was, let's just say I was.
Maybe I don't even know.
If I was, I'd be damn proud of it, and I'd be like really like trumpeting that in one way or another. But you can't. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I'd love to be a spy. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It'd be like a kind of a James Bond type of thing,
Right. Like a pro-West spy, pro-democracy spy.
Yeah. I'd be a pro-democracy spy for sure. If I could be, but I didn't choose that line, of work, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, we did not.
Anyway.
We're just lowly YouTubers.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we head to the next slide?
Yes, absolutely. We have to talk about this now. This is another big blow to Chinese people.
Yeah, this sucks, dude.
Yeah. All right. So what are we looking at? We're looking at something that happened. There was a big Shanghai Film Festival.
Yeah.
The opening film is called The 800. Mm-hmm. It is a big war, sort of drama type thing. It's based on history.
Mm-hmm. Made by Chinese people.
Yeah, right. By Chinese people. And, that's the thing. The Chinese film industry has always been crappy, okay? I'm not going to lie. But
on the whole.
Yeah, on the whole. But lately, it's been, getting better and better.
Sure.
And we've seen things like The Wandering Earth that came out. And we've seen some big budget stuff.
With an actual Western audience.
Yeah, things that are getting better. You know what I mean? So it's great to see things like that improve.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it because just because Chinese films are crap, it doesn't mean I don't want them to be good.
No, of course.
I'd love to see them. It's just like everything else.
Right.
Like you can say something's crappy, but if they improve, you can be happy about it. That's what I want.
Absolutely.
I would love to see more films coming out of China.
Right.
That are good and top notch and things that we could enjoy watching. But unfortunately, most of it's very China centric.
Right.
And even this one, again, it has to be some kind of war thing. It's always about the war against Japan.
Or the Monkey King. Seriously, there's two kinds of movies.
Red Cliff, or the
there's military historical films,
whatever,
and like Journey West. That's literally, that sums up all of the films from China.
Pretty much. Anyway, it's unfortunate. But anyway, this is a big budget production.
Sure.
$80 million.
That's like double the average Hollywood movie, apparently.
Yeah.
From what I was reading. $80 million is no small sum. And keep in mind, in China, it's cheaper to make a movie.
Yeah,
right? You're talking about hiring cheaper actors, cheaper labor. Everything is cheaper to make a movie. You don't have all the bureaucracy of like Hollywood, basically.
That's correct. Absolutely.
So it's a huge deal. And it was met with like huge support.
Oh yeah,
everyone loved it.
It was the opening film.
Right.
There are banners of it all over Shanghai, ready for its release and stuff. And then the day it was supposed to release, it was cancelled by the censors, and basically
due to technical difficulties.
They weren't allowed to show it.
Right.
So it actually turns out that a couple of the military guys got a look at this.
The Air Force and the Navy and the military.
And basically, they're the ones who had something to say and got it shut down. So maybe you can read some of what they were saying.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say this is a very pro-China film. Yeah. This is not like pro-Japan. This is a pro-China film.
This
is a nationalistic film.
It's based on a historical event where a whole bunch of Chinese people fighting against the Japanese basically sacrificed themselves to give time for other troops to flee inland in order to mount an attack later on.
Right.
So it's very pro-China.
Right.
And it's historical.
Right. So I'm going to read the quotes which led to its demise.
Okay, let's go for it.
Among the participants of the June 9 propaganda meeting was Wang Lihua, a former general in the People's Liberation Army, that's the Army of China.
Yeah.
This film glorifies the fighting of the Nationalist Party, which is the party that ruled before the Communist Party.
Yeah.
Which seriously violates history, he reportedly said. This deviates from historical materialism and should not be encouraged.
Okay, so seriously violates history doesn't even make sense. It is history. You know, you can see there's a reason we've got, up here, you can see there's a reason we've got these flags. The one at the top is the flag of Taiwan, okay?
Well, and the Republic of China.
Yeah, the Republic of China, and the one below it is the flag of PRC, which is the Communist China. And basically, before the communists took over, the flag above was the Nationalist Party flag.
It was China's flag.
Yeah, China's flag. And those are the people that were fighting against the Japanese at the time. Those are the ones who made this heroic stand.
Right.
Okay? So it bugs the hell out of these military types that flag was shown in the video. In the film.
Let me read the next quote, and I'll talk about why that's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Added Guo Songmin, a former Chinese Air Force commander turned film critic. They should not so enthusiastically promote the flag of the Nationalist Party in such a solemn and sacred way. If we do so, no matter what the intention, it will hurt the feelings of soldiers who fought for establishing the new China, and it shows a real disrespect for the People's Republic of China. So you shouldn't show the flag that was China, the ruling party of China, that fought in the war against the Japanese at that time period. Apparently, you're supposed to show the PRC's flag, the Communist Party's flag, instead of the ROC's flag, even though it didn't exist.
No, it didn't exist.
It wasn't the ruling party.
That's the weird thing. It's kind of like if you made a movie of, America back before independence when it was still a British colony, and you said you can't show British flags or British those red coats.
That was exactly what I was going to say.
You're going to have to change it to it has to be like Screaming Eagles and American Stars and Stripes.
Right, like a Harley Davidson
flag
exactly.
Like, Screaming Eagle. It's just silly. So, and that's why it got blocked, basically, is because they didn't want to show the nationalist flag of Taiwan in any positive light. They felt like it was too sensitive. Right. So they basically screwed up the movie.
And this is the issue, is that okay, you're going to have the PLA getting all butthurt because they want to claim in China's entire history, right?
For sure.
It doesn't make sense.
Since ancient times.
Since ancient times, it's been Mao Zedong.
Yeah, exactly.
The CCP ruling China. But anyway, the reason this is an issue, I don't really care about the butthurt feelings of the army. What I care about is how angry people are getting over this.
Yeah.
So Weibo is going ape right now, right?
Yeah.
And people are calling out the whole technical difficulty thing as to why it's pulled, and they're basically saying, well, the real technical difficulty is the fact that you're trying to censor history, and that's messed up.
Yeah.
Then you have the filmmakers who spent all this time and energy and effort.
Yeah.
Everyone that watched it at the film festival cheering it on. This is our China. This is how history was. Yeah. This is how we can retell history, so we don't forget. Yeah. Right. And then you have people censoring a pro-China film because they're upset about a legitimate ruling party flag. I just find that so detrimental to the future film industry in China. all these like talented filmmakers. I haven't seen the movie. I'd like to, but they're gonna have to
win. It's gonna be another boring war film. But
well, who knows? Right? Maybe it's great. But anyway,
it's probably fantastic.
Talk about having the wind taken out of your sails, right? Talk about like literally not having no motivation to go out and try to make anything. Because if the government can just completely delete all of your hard work, then why would you go out and do it again?
Yeah. Here's the thing. How is China ever going to progress? And I'm talking from a point of view of, just society and everything. If every time people try to improve themselves, they hit these absurd roadblocks.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Now, I'm speaking from a point of view of real love for China and Chinese people.
Right.
It's difficult for people to understand that.
Right.
Especially when I make negative videos about China. But the reason I'm making the negative videos is because it's absurd what's going on. What people are being stopped from doing. Like that video I did about Hong Kong, and I pointed out the lack of civility in mainland China, which is a big problem.
Right.
Nobody could ever dispute. Of course. But you cannot dispute that. If you've spent any time in China, you will see people spitting on the streets and just pushing and shoving and cutting queues and just being, rude and,
It's a loud, fun place.
Yeah. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but the thing is, you've got a massive population and a huge percentage of that population is uneducated, okay, and rough and rural. That's fine, but the problem is it's never going to change if people keep making excuses for it. And this is the issue, is because I mentioned that, people started to go completely mental in the comment section and telling me that I'm a piece of crap and that what about homeless people in San Francisco, etc. It doesn't matter. I have seen so many instances of bad behavior in China, and never once have I seen anybody stand up and say, hey, that's rude. Hey, don't do that.
Right.
Hey, what are you doing? And that's the problem, because people make excuses for it rather than confronting it, and then it's never going to change. And you know what? It's a grandmother allowing the grandchild to take a dump on the street. It's a grandmother spitting in front of the grandchild on the street. That's not going to change, because if the grandchildren see that happening and they think it's acceptable and no one ever stops, never stops it, it's never going to change.
No.
You know what I mean? And so this nationalist crap to defend bad behavior just because it's Chinese behavior,
and just because other things happen elsewhere,
is the biggest issue here. It's blame game, man.
There's so many parallels to this whole thing. Remember, we talked about the Tiananmen Square massacre quite a bit in our last two videos, right?
Yeah, we did.
And there's so many because the Global Times actually admitted that it happened. Yeah. Now the new rhetoric in the comment section is not to say, oh, don't look it up, oh, it didn't happen. Now it's it's a good thing that it happened, and it's a good thing. The most important thing of these feature of these comments, it's a good thing that the Communist Party covered it up. Yeah. Because then people can't get all riled up, and if they don't know about it, then we can progress with harmony, basically, right? Yeah. And that doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make sense. It's typical Chinese Communist Party Band-Aid over something. Yeah. They wait until something boils up so there's so much pressure that it just explodes everywhere, and then they have to rush to try to fix it.
I have my biggest issue with all of this is that when people like you or I point out a problem with a genuine interest to see that problem change, we're immediately attacked and labeled as anti-China, which is really crappy, because it's very far from the truth. We're not anti-China. If I was anti-China, man, I wouldn't even bother. If I was anti-China, I would just say, screw that place. I wouldn't bother trying to mention anything about it. I'd go in and do something else, and I'd just sit and drink beer with my friends and bitch about China.
Or we could just go do food vlogs around the world.
Exactly. The reason why I criticize the bad behavior in China is because I legitimately want it to change. And this has always been the biggest thing, because it's easy to point blame rather than to look inwards and say, hey, you know what, that's a problem, let's fix it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's the whole thing that the government's tried to make everyone so unified through one label, and that is, I am Chinese. So when you're the guy that's not pissing in public or not spitting, it's not your fault, obviously, if somebody else does that, but because the government has made your image one thing, one national unity identity. When someone calls it out, then you've offended everyone. Yeah,
which is unfortunate, because I've got a lot of respect for, in fact, mad respect for Chinese people that don't spit in public and piss in the streets. You know why? Because it's easy.
Right.
So everybody likes to revert to their base instincts. Let's be honest. If you're given a chance, if you could sit around in your underwear drinking beer on the side of the road and doing whatever you want, you probably would. If you didn't have people walking around saying like, what the hell's this guy doing? Why wouldn't you do it?
If those basic elements of society weren't there, you'd be happily doing
that.
And
in China, you can literally just kind of
take your shirt off,
be a slob, spit, roll around, do whatever you want. No one's going to stop you.
Smoke in hospitals.
So the fact that people don't do it, big props to the people who don't, because it's easy, and why not?
Right.
Anyway, I think we should probably answer some questions. What do you reckon?
Sure. We got some super chats, guys. I appreciate that. Okay, first off, we have Masdif Jada with €2. How freeing is it being able to finally talk more openly? It feels great.
Yeah,
absolutely great. It's one of the best things that could have happened to us, to be honest.
It's nice to be able to talk freely, and it's not an opportunity for me to suddenly just jump up and bash China or anything like that, but it is finally an opportunity for me to talk about the things that have been bugging me for years and years and years.
And to finally talk about the things that are not Chinese people's faults.
Absolutely, because you bring this stuff up and immediately you just jeopardize your way of life.
Right.
Anyway,
thank you. Chris Cotton with £10 says, now that you're openly speaking about all the political things, are you wanting or able to go back to China to visit? Both your wives' families are there, but I can't imagine you'd be let back in. You'd be surprised. We won't get into details, but there is a very clear register of people that are not allowed into China, and I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Chris. Toby with £10 didn't say anything. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Cesario Japan with $2 said, I figured Winston would be M15.
MI5. Well,
MI5, sorry.
Yeah, I guess I would be MI5 because it's closer to being CIA, considering I'm British South African. But,
I don't think you're anything of that.
No.
Ilk, I'm sorry. Joe Knopfsinger, thank you very much. Typical Tony 777. Do you want to see my Pog collection? Did you ever play Pogs?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know what it is. Some kind of card game?
They're like little, almost like bottle cap shaped little cards, and you like stack them up and then you hit them with slammers.
Oh, yeah. They play that in China.
Do they?
Yeah, kids play it a lot. I saw that a lot. But it's kind of like, I think they've just changed it around. It's like anime style stuff.
Oh, I gotcha.
It's the same thing. I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Thorbass with 10 Norwegian kroner. Thank you very much.
That's cool.
Gabriel Taylor with $5. Much love from Southern California. I watched you guys for years. I've learned so much. Keep speaking your mind about these important issues. We will. Yeah,
look, I am going to keep speaking my mind. And this is an unfortunate... it's an unfortunate situation because, literally out of respect for my Chinese acquaintances, people that I know in China, and having lived in China for so long, I had kind of resolved myself to stay away from anything sensitive.
Right.
That was kind of the way I was living in China, and I thought I would continue to do that. The problem is the way that China weaponizes its nationalists to attack your family and stuff. In order to shut you up. It's a weird system. They think, okay, we don't want this guy to say anything bad. So what do? We intimidate him by attacking his family. And these are these crazy nationalists. Right. The problem is, you could say it's just like, it's losers, you get them in every country. The problem is that China condones this behavior.
Promoted.
It's promoted and it's condoned, and they never, ever call it out.
No.
So the fact that my family in South Africa was attacked by a harassment campaign, not only my family in South Africa, my extended family, anyone with my surname was sent threatening emails, disgusting emails, racist, terrible things. The fact that they contacted businesses around my parents, and tried to tell them to threaten my parents. They contacted political parties in South Africa to say that my parents were doing things against the government to try and get my parents into trouble. The fact that they put a big campaign to try and get my wife fired and try to get her in trouble with the government is what made me decide to say, you know what? Screw you guys. If this is the way you treat someone who's been moderate and nice, and who out of respect for China has not spoken about the very obvious glaring problems that have been in front of my eyes the whole time. If that's how you treat someone like that, then go to hell.
Right.
Quite simple. You can go to hell. If you're going to treat me like that, you've stepped over a line, and now it's time for me to speak freely.
Right.
And the more harassment and the more crap, the further I'm going to go. And this is not an idle threat. This is just a reality, because each line that gets stepped over, moral line, the more I'm going to release. Because I've been in China for 14 years. I've collected so much footage, so many stories, so many things, including government officials, etc., etc. The more you guys push, the more I'm going to release. I have to say it out there. It's just the way it's going to be. So stay tuned, because you might see some very spicy stuff coming out of me in the future.
Calm down, Tiger.
Sorry, but I just had to put it out there.
I'm assuming you were speaking on my behalf as well.
Yeah. You've been received. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like,
right.
If you want somebody to not say things you don't want, why do you attack their families and do all this dastardly stuff? It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
No.
Anyway, back to common decency.
Don't be a wuss.
Yeah. What's next?
David Rossiter with 100 Hong Kong dollars. Thank you very much. Add oil, guys. That means Jayo. That means keep going.
Absolutely.
We will.
It's a big thing. Jayo is what Chinese people say at sports events and stuff. It just means like, it's literally like put your foot down in a car, add oil,
Might even mean it's also what the Hong Kong protesters say to each other too.
Yeah, it's true.
Steve J, $10. Thank you so much. Much love from Texas.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Andrew Price, $1. Thank you. Steve Trumbull, $10. Good work. Thank you, Steve. These little snap.
Okay.
I don't know how to pronounce your name. Vitalij Pokryuk.
Pokryuk.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, guys, for your channel. I love your videos. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corey Semick, for becoming a member. That's super cool. Remember, they get early release.
Oh, that's right.
And behind the scenes on Monday.
Correct.
Daniel P. Keep it up. $20. Atlanta Boy, €2. Winston, congratulations for the oncoming baby.
Yes, big news if you haven't heard already. Sasha is pregnant, and she has been for a while. I obviously just didn't release the information because I got to be completely honest with you guys. The way that I've been harassed and my family's harassed and stuff, make information like that available early is a bit of a folly, simply because it could cause them to go and, I don't know, camp out at the maternity hospital that she works at or has been to and try to like stab her or something. Anyway, she's about 3 months pregnant now, and we finally got the, you get a little DNA test, tells you the results, and it looks like it's going to be a girl.
Congratulations.
Incredibly excited.
Join the club.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We can only have daughters, apparently.
Yeah.
I think she'll be good friends with Lucia.
Yeah, I hope so.
Daniel P, keep it up. Thank you very much, dude. Atlanta Boy. Oh, sorry, I already said that. Robert Score, $20. Thank you very much, Robert. Anna Kinks, $10. Foreigner Wu Mao like Huo Dawang is very annoying. What can I do about it?
Ignore it.
Just ignore it.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about it. People like that don't deserve any sort of attention.
No, absolutely not.
But, you can come to your own conclusions. Thank you. Lumpy, $4.99. Thoughts on the new social credit system? We actually made a video about it.
Yeah, we've made a video. You can take a look on our channel.
It's called China's Dystopian Future.
No, it's China's Dystopian Social Credit System.
Oh, is that what it's called? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we've got a whole video.
It's on ADVChina. Just very, very quickly. Thank you. Robert Adicott with $5. Congrats to Winston. I just arrived in Shanghai, and I'm watching you from AT&T roaming $10 per day. Apparently nothing is blocked, no VPN needed.
Yes, that's actually something I wanted to mention. If you do get roaming through your company, like your AT&T or whatever, it does actually work. Not always, but most of the time.
$10 a day.
That's not bad. It's not bad for freedom.
$300 a month?
Yeah, I guess so.
Just get a VPN.
Yeah.
NordVPN/ADVChina. Jeremiah Bullfrog, $10. Is Sasha safely out of China, and Vivi and Sasha's families?
Yeah, we've made accommodations to make sure everyone's safe.
Yes, yeah.
So don't worry about it.
Thank you.
But thank you for your concern.
Genesis 298 says $20. Thank you. I guess I didn't say $20. But thank you very much for that. Robert Score, $20. What do you think of the American businessmen traveling into Jiangmen City, Guangdong in today's tariff environment? You'll be all right.
Yeah, look, the thing is, unless you are a politician or someone highly influential, you don't need to worry.
No.
Go about your business. Business as usual. Yeah. Business as usual. Just don't be someone who is
Don't get into a fight.
Oh, yeah.
Avoid confrontation. Yeah. Avoid political conversation.
That's 100%. Just avoid political confrontation. Don't talk about politics. You'll be okay.
Yeah, and good luck. Sean Smith, $10. Have you seen how much of China would be underwater if all ice caps melted? Do a search for Asia if all ice caps melt. Business Insider and National Geographic. What do you think about it? Well, that'd be terrifying. Better get a surfboard out. Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll check it out.
Yep.
Jonathan with 20. I believe that's Mexican pesos.
Awesome.
Great videos. Gracias. Excellent job. Travis Martin, Canadian, $10. Thank you very much. Syed You guys are amazing. Loved all your work, the documentaries and everything.
Thank you very much.
Some of the best, our proudest moments.
Yeah, those documentaries that we've made, absolutely awesome. It was such a hassle to make them. You have no idea how much time and money that ended up costing. But you know what? It was worth it. We got to meet so many cool people.
It was great.
And finally, we were able to show the whole world what we'd been experiencing for years. And the reason we love China in the first place.
Right. Genuine people.
Yeah. Actually going out into the countryside, not dealing with this political bullshit all the time, not dealing with big cities and fancy skyscrapers, actual real China.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the real China is very good. So
yes.
if you guys get a chance, definitely check it out. Primus81, thank you very much. Adam Hanford, moving to Shanghai in 8 weeks. What's your top tip, guys? Love the videos.
If you're going to be living in Shanghai, obviously top tip, get WeChat.
Yeah.
Everyone uses WeChat for payment.
Yeah.
And to communicate. It's an incredibly useful app in China. Look, you're going to have to just forget about privacy.
Sure.
But WeChat is a fantastic tool. And you can navigate through the entire China.
Absolutely.
Just with WeChat.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
For sure.
It's very, very good.
That'd be the top tip, I guess.
100%.
If you already have WeChat, just have a good time, dude. Definitely go get street food. Go to the street food barbecue areas and stuff. Have some beers and barbecue on the street. Make some friends.
Nice thing about Shanghai is that it's a lot more sophisticated than most Chinese cities. So you will have access to brands and things that you won't find elsewhere.
Right.
So, you'll have Family Mart there.
But you can leave the posh areas and it can just be like everything that we've shown you in our videos.
The thing is, it's a good soft landing.
It is.
Because you can kind of wake up and get your fancy coffee shops and your, the brands that you used to like back home, Hooters and White Castle and stuff.
Then get on the metro and head out.
Yeah, and then you'll see nothing. Nothing like that. Sort
of nothing like
yeah, it's not like nothing.
You'll go blind.
Yeah, you'll see that. Yeah, okay, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Mike Huter, $50. Thank you so much. Wow. Yeah. Glad you guys got out just in time, safety kids, being able to comment on national events, given the cluster F at present. I hope you give it a while before trying to go back.
Yeah, look, good. That's sound advice. When you talk about things of a sensitive nature in China, it is incredibly dangerous, not only for you, but anyone who's associated to you. And we've seen ramifications for that. And, obviously seen how it affects people that are tied to us. It's not pretty. It's not nice. It's not something we'd ever wish on anyone. But yes, honestly, I still have a lot of hope for the future of China. And absolutely. I do think that things can settle down.
Things will at least cool down.
I think rationality will eventually take hold and things will calm down and it'll stop being a freaking us versus them thing all the time.
Right.
And hopefully one day things will be great and we can just be welcomed back as, people who love the country very much and who've contributed a hell of a lot.
Right.
And wish to continue to contribute,
Agreed.
So we'll see.
Better myself. Thank you. Vibrantly Brantley, couldn't China just make harsher laws so their citizens behave in a more civilized manner if they enforce harsh penalties?
They actually do.
Yes, love your channel.
You've heard about that traveling blacklist? I think it's probably the only country in the world where the government can actually put you on a blacklist and not allow you to travel.
Leave the country,
You're not allowed to travel because of your bad behavior overseas.
Right.
Like that guy threw hot water on the air hostess is not allowed to travel anymore. People that destroy ancient monuments in Egypt, they're not allowed to travel.
Sure.
People that take a dump on like a temple step in Thailand, they're not allowed to travel. They get shamed because, well, let's put it this way. If it kicks up an international media circus and they'll be like, oh, this Chinese tourist took a dump on this sacred object or something, or, drank the water out of this beautiful sacred fountain or something, they'll get shamed and they'll get what's called human flesh searched. Right. And so the whole of China, because, China's all about face. So this one Chinese person would have made China lose a lot of face, right? So what'll happen is people will track them down and the Chinese government will then actually put a ban on them and not allow them to leave the country again until a certain amount of years have passed, etc.
Right. That's the whole social credit system.
Yeah, it is.
But that in action.
It's actually been in action for a while now.
Sure.
Through that traveling ban thing.
Right.
So they do have harsh penalties. But the problem is they put a ban on that person rather than like turning inward and like being, listen, guys, stop doing this crap. If you're going to go abroad, don't do it,
Right. Yeah. And also, just like everything in China, a bribe will get you out of anything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Pretty much.
Very influential enough.
Cool.
Thank you. Robert Score, big thanks, guys. Going there next week. Bringing my daughter. Also stopping in Vietnam. No explanation about that necessary. Thanks again. You're very welcome. Have fun in both places. The worst person in the world says, just want to say thanks for showing the truth of China. You just proven that you're not the worst person in the world.
Absolutely. Guys, again, there's no real agenda here. I guess everybody has a bias, everyone has an agenda, but the agenda here is not to try and paint China in a bad light. The agenda that we have is that we have such a vested interest in China, having lived there for so long and being married into Chinese families and stuff, that we honestly want the best for China and for Chinese people.
Sure.
We're not trying to throw anyone under the bus here, but we are so sick and tired of the crap that we have to put up with and our families have to put up with it. We'd like to expose this and just show everybody what's going on.
I mean, we also have a vested interest in just telling the truth. We grew up telling the truth.
Yeah.
This is what we do. I think normal, moral human beings like to tell the truth, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Without throwing anyone under the bus.
Yeah.
Ariel Han, I am Chinese. Thank you so much for speaking out. Well, 谢谢你.
Yeah, an absolute pleasure. And, that's the thing. The main reason I'm doing this is for Chinese people. It's not for myself.
Sure.
I'm not trying to be famous here or anything weird. It's like, I know what it's...
Is it weird to be famous?
Yeah, well, yeah, it is actually. Having lived there for so long and being so involved in China and, just seeing what people have to put up with and seeing the glaringly obvious things that really need to change.
Mm-hmm.
I really want them to change for Chinese people.
I agree. Not for us. Maximilian Helm. Multiple position politicians in Europe think there will be a revolution in the next 30 to 50 years in China. Do you think this is likely or possible? It's impossible to tell with China.
Only if the economy collapses.
Yeah, we've said that multiple times, right?
Yeah.
It would take an economic collapse.
Yeah, and we don't wish that on China, but that's the only thing that's going to push that forward.
Yeah. Thank you. Brian O'Callahan, thank you very much. Atlanta boy, have you guys ever been to France or plan to come? I've been to Nice, but I was just going through. I guess when we do our Euro trip, we'll go through France.
Absolutely, can't wait.
For sure.
I can't wait. Yeah.
And thank you for...
I haven't been to France, but I really want to go.
Wig Alert, thank you very much. And Anna Kinks, I've been spreading a lot of anti-China stuff on my WeChat moments. I don't think they've noticed yet, but I wonder what's the worst you guys seen happening to someone doing this?
Our friend got his WeChat account shut down the other day.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll probably just shut it down.
They shut you down, basically. If you're super influential, then they'll take you in for tea.
The thing is, he lives in Hong Kong now.
Right.
So they shut it down. I think if he was living in mainland China, because with WeChat, you do have to link it to your real ID now.
Right.
And you have to link it to your bank account and stuff. So they do know who you are.
Right.
It's very easy for them to come and take you for tea, which they'll probably just come and say, hey, listen, you're not allowed to say these kind of things. Say these kind of things again and you'll be in a bit of trouble.
You probably get deported the second time around.
Yeah.
Thank you. NG Simon, does Hong Kong stand a chance against the extradition bill? I believe so.
Well, they already suspended it.
Sure, but we're looking for a scrap, right? A full-on scrap.
Yeah.
I'd say, I guess, like, if there's enough international pressure and enough pressure from
women. I got to be honest. I was surprised that it got suspended.
So was I. I almost lost hope.
Very surprised and delighted because, once again, it's the choice of the Hong Kong people.
Mm-hmm.
It would be my choice too.
Sure.
I mean, I support the scrapping of that bill. I don't think it's a good thing to have.
You guys understand that.
But, honestly, the Hong Kong people didn't want it and they voted with their feet. They went out on the street. They showed that they don't want it because Hong Kong still has a different rule of law to mainland China.
Sure. Well, as a real rule of law.
Yeah, and it actually worked.
Right.
And it's fantastic. And who knows what's going to happen after this, Sunday 2 million protest. Hopefully we'll see some nasty people stepping down.
Yeah, I agree.
And
best of luck to you guys.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention something super, super important.
Yeah.
If you guys like this format of show, we actually do this every other Thursday.
Yep.
On ADV Podcasts. How would you find that? You would type in ADV Podcasts, right? And I also left the link in the description as well.
Okay.
So subscribe, please subscribe to that.
Yeah. We made this because we wanted to really talk about this issue. We have a much more professional live show every second Thursday, like he mentioned. And we apologize to all of you who came here today to see the normal bike adventures. They will be returning next week, as mentioned before.
Sure.
So don't worry, they're not going anywhere. We just had to get this message out. It's important. And look, this kind of crap is really affecting our lives, okay? I don't know about you, but I'm not sleeping well. I'm having a lot of trouble with all the crap that goes on that surrounds everything that we do. And sometimes you just have to get something off your chest. And I must apologize if I've been a bit ranty, but okay. I've had very little sleep.
Me as well. I think you can see it in our eyes.
Yeah, the relentless attacks against my family and myself really just, they annoy the crap out of me. It's not going to stop me. It's just giving me drive to continue, but it does make me want to focus on certain things. So I hope you guys don't mind my ranting today.
No, you're more than welcome. I think some people might even enjoy our suffering. There's one more WeChat. There's one more super chat. Vibrantly Brantley. Should Americans get a WeChat account as a preliminary message for when China comes to collect their debt and take over?
Yeah, sure, do it.
Go for it.
Yeah, 100%. No, WeChat is a good. I'm not gonna lie, it's a fantastic product, and
it's a bit worrying.
But I don't know if I mentioned before, but I'm one of the beta testers of WeChat.
Yeah, you did.
And I actually got WeChat before anyone else did because I was working at Tencent at the time. Tencent's the company that actually made it. And from the get-go, I was very impressed with it. You know, they've taken basically all sorts of other apps and just merged them into one in a very smart way. And WeChat's fantastic. The only problem with WeChat is the blatant government surveillance.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter what country we're in. The groups get shut down all the time that we get added to.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And the thing is, a lot of people in the West will argue, oh, yeah, CIA looks at your Facebook and all that. And, you know, yeah, sure they do. But the problem is, in mainland China, they don't hide that fact.
No.
They're like, yes, we're monitoring you.
Right.
Yes.
You are responsible for what you say in this app.
And if you're an admin of a group and someone in the app says something bad, you're the one that's going to get detained and put in jail. I mean, that's the thing. It's just straight out there. So it's basically apples and oranges. Because, maybe the CIA and the FBI, they have to get warrants and stuff to, like, see your crap in your Facebook, you know, and your DMs and stuff. But in China, they don't. They just do it. So
right. I guess the difference is I haven't had any evidence or people being like, yeah, I can see what you're doing. But in China, I've had that like 100 billion times. That's the difference is they let me know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Cool.
Anyway, don't forget, this Thursday.
It's this Thursday.
This Thursday is our live show on ADV Podcasts. That's with an S.
Yeah.
We're talking all about Hong Kong updates.
Yes, it's all about Hong Kong. You know, my friend on the ground, Dave's got some things he'd like to share with us that he's witnessed firsthand over there. And, we're just going to talk about everything that has transpired and what is transpiring at the moment. So, I forgot to mention, although it is a podcast and it is released on Spotify and SoundCloud and all that crap, we're going to be showing the visuals in the background. That's why we've set up this green screen malarkey, is because we want to show you never before seen footage that we've shot in Hong Kong that we think is worthy of looking at. So we're going to be playing throughout the entire podcast, which is an hour long.
Right.
We're going to be playing non-stop Hong Kong footage in the background that you guys haven't seen before. So,
and the show is more segmented than this. There's actual topics. We actually cover what's new with us, what's new with the world. We talk about relationship issues. We do soft power hour where we talk about like China's soft power throughout the world.
Sure.
And then we do a Q&A with super chats and normal questions at the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
So don't forget to subscribe to that.
And also questions that are left on the Instagram account.
Oh, that as well? Yeah.
Which is also just at ADV Podcasts with an S.
Yeah. Easy to find.
Very easy to find. We're looking forward to seeing you guys on Thursday. And also looking forward to next Monday getting back to the normal on the bike stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you guys for watching. Anything you'd like to tell our subscribers before we sign off?
Whether you enjoyed this live format or not, we hope to see you over on ADV Podcasts on Thursday. And I hope you guys enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
And thank you for, sticking around, being with us through all these years. And it's been a pleasure having you along for the ride. Yeah.
I want to say thank you very much to you guys for putting up with some of my rants today and my slightly bad mood. The good news is that, I can tell everyone that Sasha is pregnant and we're very much looking forward to having our first child. Buddy. Yeah, thank you very much. Also to all the Chinese people that watch, I want to issue almost an apology, but it's not really an apology.
Whoa.
Okay. I want to issue an apology to you if you have thought that I'm trying to attack you as a Chinese person, because that's never been my intent. And a lot of the times the way I phrase things when I say China does this and China does that is I'm actually talking about the government and the government policies and some of the social misbehaviors. I'm not talking about you as a Chinese person.
Right.
And I know it can be misconstrued as that sometimes.
I get you.
And if you have, for some reason, thought that, I would like you to please accept my apologies and realize that I have nothing but respect for the Chinese people that actually stand up, and don't do these bad behaviors, who stand against it and who, struggle on and continue with life in China and contribute to China being a better place.
And thank you to the Chinese people out there that are willing to have a dialogue with people that are not from their country. That's the most important thing to me. Absolutely. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So thank you. Keep staying strong, and we'll see you next time. So until then, you know the drill. I got to figure out how this all works. So stay awesome.